And there's Edinburgh.
As you just lost that's
a pretty cool way to reveal Edinburgh.
I think the other stuff that's worth talking about when it comes to Edinburgh is how cool the road network is in this particular urban environment in this game. So before with Surface Paradise, it was quite a modern high-rise city, and it had that very grid-like road network, which afforded a certain type of experience. I think what's great about Edinburgh is the roads have obviously built up over time. There's a lot of history associated with this location, and it creates these really interesting pieces of road network that the level designers have been able to leverage and create some really unique races that I don't think we would have been able to create in an urban environment if we were in another sort of more modern.
Yeah.
It has many famous buildings on it, not least of which is obviously the castle, which is just over there. Andy's driving away from it now, which is useful. But
he's taken the scenic route.
He is.
Yeah. A lot of money.
It does cost a lot of money. And actually, we revealed the answer to that question just a couple of minutes ago, I think, when we drove past.
And as you can see, Edinburgh itself is just a super cool place at night. So all the shop lights have turned on, all the street lights, all of the uplighting on all the sort of major monuments, which is a real feature of Edinburgh. So one of the things you'll always see if you Google Edinburgh on sort of Google search is all the cool uplit castles and monuments and things. So that's something that our lighting artists have been able to have real fun with this time around.
It makes you really want to go and visit Edinburgh. I'm just kind of like noticing that because it's a city I've never been to, and it just looks absolutely stunning. It's one of those things though, I'm quite excited to see the change of weather as well. It's just kind of like when we went into that cockpit view, that kind of different reflection of the lights. But that is the end of that race right there.
Which is great. I think we've got a bit of a graphic that we can stick up to show you the 6 radio stations within the game, kind of our party hip-hop station. With us being in the UK now, we've changed the DJ for that station. And actually the DJ is someone that you might well have heard of. Mr. Jam is Radio 1 and Radio 1 Extra DJ, and he has been good enough to come and be the DJ for Block Party in Horizon 4, which is great, and he's done a brilliant job of that. From memory, the other 2 stations which have been in every Horizon game, Block Party and Pulse, are back. People love them. For me, they combine to create really the sound of Horizon games. Scott Tyler is back as the DJ for Base Arena. Emigrated from Australia to stay in touch with the Horizon Festival. And an old favourite that skipped a game actually, Horizon XS. Is back. So that is our rock station this time. That's where you're going to get your big riffs. And we have a new DJ entirely, a guy called Malk, who is the DJ for that station. And then the final one that I wanted to mention, and it's particularly...
a million, like, depending on which one you go for. You were telling us earlier about a car that you really, really loved, and I think we got some footage of you as well.
Yeah, this was a car that it's a new to franchise engine. It's never been in the games. The wheels of this thing were bigger than me. I think this is the first vehicle I've ever recorded where we could actually strap a man to the side of it to record it.
I would love to see you try and do that to someone with a McLaren Senna. I don't think you would have them afterwards.
I don't think so.
Well, yeah, you know, I don't know how about you, but I think this kind of driving a car into a big pool of water isn't going to go too well.
It's not renowned for being speedy.
No.
Yeah.
Can you remember like stuck in the mud at primary school?
Yeah, it's a lot like that.
Particularly a city you recognise, and you know Edinburgh certainly for us ticks those boxes, and it's really cool to have it in the game.
I think also while we're driving up, because I know that it's been one of the biggest questions as well, is why not London? Like, yeah, I'm a Londoner, so I'm like, why not London?
So London's a great city. Everyone knows what a great city London is. It's also absolutely massive. Anywhere near central London, every building is completely different and every building is completely iconic. And really, the amount of work, I guess, that would be involved in recreating London would mean you probably didn't have any time left over to go build the rest of the game. If your game was all street racing and cities, then suddenly you're making a game like Midnight Club. Which are brilliant games, but not the game that we have ever set out to make or really necessarily want to make.
So you still get areas where there's a little bit of snow happening here and there. Also, like, I know this is the sort of thing that I would personally get very excited about, Benny, as you know. But all the greens are a specific type of green. So spring has like we actually went out with colour scanners and scanned all the values of all the leaves from the trees at different seasons. So we are actually towards the sort of north end of the Lake District, sort of on the border of what we would consider the English versus Scottish part of our map. And yeah, as you can see, Ralph already mentioned it, but it's a radically different visual to obviously the winter that we showed you last week. The leaves have started to return to some of the trees, some have sort of stayed skeletal and sort of give you that really nice difference in the silhouette. Loads more moisture sort of ambiently in the world, so it's our wettest season in Britain. That's represented in games, so you get a lot of that standing water, lots of the deformable mud that we talked about in autumn, but also the lighting model is also now updated with all the sky catchers that we got from the spring season in real life, so you get a slightly higher sun arc than you would in winter, so the days are slightly longer, you get a little bit more brightness generally to the environment. And also you get all these really lovely pops of colour, so you get all the wildflowers that start to carpet the woodland, all the trees start to explode with little blossoms.
We know how much you love
flowers.
trees.
I do love the trees, yeah.
The changes don't stop there. It's not just the 4 seasons will change in the ways we've seen over the last couple of weeks. The game is going to keep changing after launch as we continue to support it, as we continue to create new content for it, create new features for it, add stuff to the game. And really the point behind the seasons, their transitions, the timing, that weekly cadence of seasons post-launch is so that we can continue to deliver amazing stuff to this game. Some stuff that we have planned, some stuff I think that will come from feedback from the community post-launch, and not just for months, but I think for years after this game ships. If Andy keeps driving and maybe goes a little bit off the track, I think there's probably an interesting thing. Definitely for people who have played Horizon games before, for people that have played Horizon 3 in particular, we've had a lot of feedback on tree language, I guess, or smashable language we call it in the studio. It's something that we've actually worked on a great deal in this game. Basically, the feedback from 3 is that you don't know as you're approaching a tree if it's going to break or if it's going to stop you dead. And that gets pretty frustrating. That's something that we have spent a lot of time during this game working on. We've worked on a system whereby hopefully, and I think you can probably see it here, the thickness of trees is very clear as you're driving even through a thick forest like this one, so that you always have a pretty good confidence level as to what's going to break when your car hits it and what's actually going to kind of break your car when you hit it. We thought we'd save this for last, just out of badness, I think, actually, because people have been really excited about seeing it through these streams, and it is really cool. It's a super cool city. I think it's the best city we've done in a Horizon game. This isn't it, actually. I don't think we've shown this in the streams before. That's Banbury Castle, isn't it? Yeah. We're at the coast, actually, again, which I don't think we've actually seen, but there you go. So that's Banbury Castle. There's a big old British beach over there to the right.
It's actually another gameplay arena.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and if we drive up, this is sort of the east coast of the world that we've built. Eventually, we will get to Edinburgh, and it's probably worth mentioning just like why we have cities in Horizon. We didn't have any cities. We had a biggish town in one, but it really
Main town
was what it was called. Yeah, only town.
It was the main town.
But from 2, we had Nice in the south of France. Obviously, in Horizon 3, we had Surface Paradise. As part of some of the Horizon stories, to get into and play those stories, you have to go by a business, and the one that we just passed is called World's Fastest Rentals, which involves you buying, I believe, a supercar rental business. And is that Once you bought that business, and as you progress that Horizon story, you will earn money from that business, and you will see that come into your account every time you log on.
Vote in the poll who you think is going to win the first event. Is it going to be Team Dinosaurs or Team Test? Vote now as we get into it and we'll see who wins. I'm personally going for Team Test.
The way that the scoring is designed means that even if you're stuck in last place, all you really need to do is make sure you try and get ahead of at least one person on the other team.
Yeah.
So, there's no matter what position you're in, you don't need to try and win to be a contributing factor.
So that means it's the first of 3 points.
Yeah.
And so we'll get to see here. The current score is 1-0 to design.
What is survival?
All right, so this is an anything goes to adventure, which means it's a mixture of racing and playground games. And we're playing a brand new playground game here that nobody's seen before, which is called Survival. And so you can see on the leaderboard now, a couple of the survivors have gone orange, which means they're become infected. But the twist is they can actually get healed by crashing into their allies.
Is that what we just saw on screen there, where Andy like hit into his car?
Absolutely right.
Right, so what else have we got going on at the moment? So you can see on the right who's infected, who's alive.
Yes, I think that's one of the key things. You've just seen now that we've dropped from the design team having 3 infected people to having no infected people, and that's one of the big sort of changes in this mode from the solo version of Infected, in that the game can change from being nearly lost to you being back in full form, going for that sort of 4 minute timeout.
Yeah.
So you can have like a huge swing of events. Like you could kind of have this moment. I think that's going to be a really exciting thing as a player as well, which kind of makes you want to hop on and play it. Is that you know that you could be like the last person alive, and you could just do like this epic comeback and like bring your friends back in. It's like. When are we next going to hear more and see more about Forza Horizon 4?
So it's only a couple of weeks to Gamescom. We will be there with the game. We will be there showing more stuff, talking about more stuff.
It's a big difference is the minimap. So when you're on the